Hey Collective, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be dedicated towards what is an agent of change and what that actually means for the betterment of society. And essentially an agent of change is someone who has a soul that is responding to a higher calling, someone who has been tapped by a divine universe, if you will, to bring change into the world that brings the harmonic frequency of the collective into a better balance with nature and with life itself. And what they bring to the world is a manner in which they view the system. They can bring connections and bring people back together, and their focus is on teaching, or their focus is on sharing what they know, or bringing new ideas to the table, or bringing a better system of operations to an old system that may be having issues in reconnecting to its people. And one of the greatest strengths about an agent of change is that they are servants of the divine universe, and what that means to you can vary from whether they serve God or Allah or Buddha or aliens, whatever it is, whatever brings them to a state of wanting to be of service to something much bigger than themselves. And they can come across rather odd at times, or they can come across very direct, or they can come across very, very driven towards purpose. And every day that they live their lives, there is a purpose to what they do. They are people who have a lot of pots in the fires. They're individuals who are always thinking of what's best for the total sum of humanity. And though they have their own shortcomings, everyone has to work through their own shadow. They appreciate the shadow nature to humanity, and they understand that it's a balancing act that we're trying to bring to the earth. And so a lot of them are driven towards Gaia, towards making sure that we protect it and take care of the great academy that we belong to, or they are driven towards humanitarian efforts where they are specifically loving human beings that want to ensure that everyone is seen through equality. They look at the world in a way that's very warm and very welcoming to all, but they can be a little controversial at times because their focus is to bring back new ideas and bring back other systems of operations, to say truths that people sometimes don't always want to hear, but that have a greater end result that is in mind. They specifically look at the world through beauty, and they bring like art and artistic flares to every situation. They're like the pollinators of the planet, and they're here to bring our collective IQ into a state of awareness about other things. They never speak down to anyone. They look at you eye level, and they speak to your needs, and they hear your voice, and they ensure that when they are addressing something or working on a project, that they can literally detail what the explanation is for each individual person or party that is inquiring about what it is that they're trying to do. A lot of them use forms of artistic flair, like acting, where they allow the vessel that they are to become one with something higher than themselves, and they deliver performances that change your world and change possibly the trajectory of your own life. When you see an incredibly gifted actor, let's say, do something with a canvas that is truly extraordinary, then the person watching whatever the movie is understands or learns something that they would not have understood in another context. Or you will find them through art, artistic flair with music, where they are like Adele's, or they are Pinks, or individuals who don't just sing, but sing with a purpose. They leave messages, and they leave breadcrumbs to a greater understanding of something much higher than us. They are very well known for being artists who paint. Leonardo da Vinci is an incredible example, and Michelangelo, who found ways to be a little tongue-in-cheek at times, but they were always very clear to the right set of eyes. They are writers who create stories and these chains of books that are series that create some form of new understanding that wasn't there before. They are producers or executives that see the world through humanitarian eyes and are trying to find ways to teach everyone without teaching down to them. They are YouTubers, or they are individuals who are now set to rise for different reasons, but they've done the work. And the one thing that they all unite on is that nothing comes for free, that you must work for your dream. And they are dream agents as well. They represent those who had the courage to stand for what they truly wanted in their world, but made it humbled and made it grounded into the earth environment by making sure that it did something for someone else. They are insistent on always ensuring that they help the next person in line. They're very all about the elderly, and they're about making sure that we give people the proper credit and the love and respect that they deserve for all of the work that they've added to the tapestry of the world. They unite with each other on book topics and things that are a little outrageous at times. They can be a little goofy and bring joy and laughter as a comedian or as some sort of agent that makes these asides that people find really endearing. Their purpose in life is to love, and to love unabashedly. And their focus is always to unite one another in a way that uplifts their vibration and makes them feel as though they're part of something quite spectacular. Their life trajectory is always built, usually, well, I should say not always, but usually stems from a life of struggle or a life of darkness, because they've learned to appreciate the every little mundane thing that it comes across their way. They see a flower and express its beauty to the world in a way that may not have been seen before. And their acts are of guidance, and they are driven by grace, and not just grace of how they carry themselves, but a higher grace. And so when we think of agents of change, we think of, very, very strong individuals. But sometimes we remember in scriptures and so forth that the world will be inherited by the weak, or by the meek, I should say. And though some may see that as people who are victimized and whatnot, I've found that agents of change are the complete opposite. They are the warriors that see their life path and their past as the reason why they will succeed, and they bridge those gaps between our understanding of what can be done and what can't be done. They push the envelope to ensure that we continue to grow. To an agent of change, stalemate or stagnation is a no-no. It doesn't allow the record to keep growing. It just keeps us going in the same cycle. And if we do that to an agent of change, then we get stuck in a state of unhappiness, and we think that this is it. And for them, it's not it. They're going to always be creating things that bring the harmonies up, and that bring the orchestra of God's creation, of Allah's creation, of whatever it is that you believe in. They bring it up to a loud stance, but one that actually is perfectly harmonized, so that no one stands out in the wrong ways, but that everybody still is heard. Every string from the violin is heard, whether it's first seat, second seat, third street. And their endeavors always ensure that the needs of the people are more important than the needs of the monetary gains. They understand that though money does bring you a little bit of comfort sometimes in a materialistic world, that it doesn't equal happiness. And their purpose is always to remind people on a daily basis that every struggle that they've ever had has shown them that the money never actually did anything for them other than slight comfort. But to find love with another person takes vulnerability. To find love of humanity takes responsibility. And so how do they bring that to the world depends on what their specific higher guidance is from something much more advanced than we. And the reason I wanted to share all of this with you is because we speak to agents of change or change agents in a way that makes them feel sometimes as though they are up against the wall, that they will never achieve their goals, or that they can't do this or they can't do that. But to these individuals, that's not an option. Their calling, their life purpose doesn't allow them, because what they are bringing to the table is new and of value. In this great academy that we belong to, one of the greatest strengths that you can have as a soul is to be grateful for your uniqueness. These agents of change are unique individuals who beat to a different drummer, and they don't try to enforce it on other people, and they don't try to beat people down into subserviency. They actually look at the world as trying to just bring newness to the old stale environments. The questions of what's best for the world, or what's specifically best for the planet, isn't a question to their ethical and moral fiber. To them, they've already done the work, and now as they're blessed in life, they bring that beauty and that uniqueness to the world at large, and they change how everything plays out from here on out. It can be something mundane and small, to raising children and becoming a teacher that thinks in an unorthodox way, but that elevates the autistic community or the gifted community or people with special needs. They focus their energy on how to help those that are in a bad situation, and they don't focus on the dark. They focus on how to bring light to the dark without them themselves being drowned into whatever is going on. And when they see obstacles, they see opportunities. When they see struggle, they see redemption. When they see, someone making a wrong choice, they remember amazing grace, and they remember that it is how a wretch was saved is because through the obstacles, the lessons, the struggles, the turmoil, the person that then rises is able to become themselves and be unabashedly proud of who they are. And that is something that we as a collective really should be happy with. They question things in ways that are maybe sometimes a little unorthodox, but the way that they reach you is in the fact that they're not being overly aggressive. But what they do is that they start to seek each other so as to build true transformation for the world. They don't try to make the world different, but they're just listening to what their intuition is saying and how that resonates with the soul vibration that they are part of. Some of these beings are now being brought together, and these agents of change are facing transformations that the world is uncomfortable with. And they look at it with zest. They look at it with a certain je ne sais quoi that they understand that that's them. To many of them, they are born of stardust, if you will. They are not unorthodox. They believe in imagination and creation. They believe in the betterment of society. And they're willing to put themselves out there. To them, reputation is something that they build, and only they can undermine it by allowing others to tell them what they should or can't do. But when it comes to us as a collective, in order to better understand them and better to be part of the solutions, I wanted to introduce what it is to truly be a change agent, or in this case, an agent of change. It's not always the easiest path at times, but you'll find that the world is heading towards that direction. We want something new, something that's not corrupt or hypocritical. And instead of worrying about all the negative and name blaming and pointing fingers, these wonderfully brilliant individuals are just doing the work needed to bring something to the table that has not been done before. I just wanted to end that on that note, guys. I hope you guys have a blessed day. If you are an agent of change, I hope that makes you feel heard, and it makes you feel like you are part of something much greater than you are, as it really helps me out every day.